Winter's great, right? Cozy sweaters, hot chocolate. But behind the scenes, behind your walls, there's a threat that can cause thousands of dollars in damage. So today, we're going to break down everything you need to know about frozen pipes. Whether you own your home or you're renting, this is for you.
So, you probably think you know what happens. Water freezes, pipe breaks. Simple, right? Well, the real story is actually a little more dramatic. It's not just about a simple ice cube forming in a tube. So what's really going on in there?
All right, first up, let's talk about what makes this whole problem so sneaky. It's a totally unseen threat that can turn a perfectly nice winter day into a very, very wet and expensive disaster. And usually, it happens without any warning at all.
Okay, it all starts with some really basic physics. When the temperature outside plummets and the water sitting inside your plumbing hits that magic number, 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit, that's when the change from liquid to solid begins.
Now, this right here is a huge misconception. You'd think that the ice expands and just cracks the pipe right then and there, but that's not exactly what happens. The real villain in the story isn't the block of ice. No, it's the insane amount of water pressure that builds up behind it.
So let's get into the science of it. How does a little bit of ice create such a massive impact on your home? We're going to walk through the play-by-play.
Check this out. It's like a 4-step chain reaction. First, you get a freeze, which creates a solid ice plug inside the pipe. That stops the water flow completely. But, and here's the kicker, the water behind that plug is now trapped. As it keeps trying to flow, the pressure builds and builds and builds until the pipe just can't take it anymore. It finds the weakest spot and, pop, you've got a rupture.
So where are the usual suspects? Think about the coldest parts of your house. We're talking about pipes that run along outside walls or in unheated spaces like crawl spaces, basements, and attics. And definitely check under your sinks, especially if they're in a cabinet that's up against an exterior wall. Those are all prime real estate for a freeze.
Okay, enough with the doom and gloom. Now that we know what the problem is, let's talk about the solution. And the good news is you can absolutely get ahead of this. It's all about proactive defense.
Let's just let that sink in for a second, because it is so true. A little bit of prevention is so much easier and cheaper than dealing with the chaos of water damage and a huge repair bill. Trust me on this one. Here are 3 simple things you can do tonight that cost literally $0. 1. Keep your heat on at a steady temperature, even when you're not home. 2. Open up the cabinet doors under your kitchen and bathroom sinks. This lets the warm air from your house circulate around those vulnerable pipes. And 3. On those brutally cold nights, let one faucet drip, just a tiny bit. That little drip keeps the water moving and prevents pressure from building up.
Now, if you live somewhere that gets seriously cold, or you know you have some really exposed pipes, this is your next level of defense. You can get foam sleeves that just wrap right around the pipes, super cheap, super easy. Or you can use heat tape for some active warmth. Just think of it like a cozy winter jacket for your plumbing.
Okay, but what if you turn on the tap and only a trickle comes out? What if you suspect a pipe is already frozen? The most important thing is not to panic. Here's your emergency action plan to keep the damage to a minimum. This is it. This is the absolute first thing you do. Before you even think about anything else, go find your main water shutoff valve and turn it all the way off. Why? Because if that pipe bursts while you're trying to thaw it, this one move is the difference between a puddle and a swimming pool in your living room.
All right, when it's time to thaw, what you don't do is just as important as what you do. Do not, I repeat, do not use any kind of open flame, like a blowtorch. That's a huge fire hazard. Stick to gentle heat. A hairdryer on its low setting is your best friend here. And here's a pro tip. Start at the faucet end and work your way back towards the blockage. That way, as the ice melts, the water has somewhere to go.
Look, sometimes a problem is just too big for a DIY fix, and there's no shame in that. So in this last section, let's talk about how to spot the signs that you're out of your league and it's time to call in a professional. If you notice any of these red flags, your DIY job is over. It's time to call a plumber immediately. Hissing sounds, damp spots appearing on the drywall, or obviously any visible cracks in the pipe, those are all signs that it has already failed. And if you've been gently thawing for a while and you still don't have water, the block might just be too deep or too big to handle on your own.
And remember, calling in a professional isn't just about fixing the leak that's happening right now. They can check out your whole system, spot other weak points, and give you advice so you're not going through this whole nightmare again next winter. It's really an investment in your peace of mind. And there you have it, your complete guide to understanding, preventing, and dealing with frozen pipes. You are now officially empowered to protect your home from one of winter's sneakiest and most expensive surprises. The real takeaway here is that a little bit of prep work goes a really long way. So, now that your pipes are protected, what's the next thing you can tackle on your winter checklist?